Well, it's like any business, right? But I wish that I would have had this podcast to listen to before I joined the industry because I would have probably asked better questions. I don't know if that would have changed where I first started out at all, but I just would have had a better understanding. Like, I feel like it took me forever to even realize, like, oh, what a GA was, which is probably embarrassing to admit, but just having you explain that here for people that are interested, I think is really good, just so that you could be aware of like what you're getting into and why it's important that you're aligned with whoever you're going to be working under, because that person does hold a lot of power over you. And if you're not aligned in whatever way, whether that's just how they do business or what type of clients you're going after, or even how they support you as an agent, it's really good to have a decent understanding of what that working relationship is going to be like. And if it's something that you can be successful inside of. Like, I know for me, environment is a really big thing, which is why I love working with Mary Jo.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for being here. Whoa, Tarisa's back. Oh, I'm so excited to have her back. All right, today we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of being a life insurance agent. I get a lot of people asking me about, hey, Mary Jo, can I be an agent with you? Hey, I'm an agent and I have questions about IBC. A lot of stuff about agents. And so we're going to go over it today. My experiences, Trista's experiences, sort of the industry as a whole. We're going to try to touch on it all. Of course, we don't have a huge outline because, I don't prepare. And so it might be a little bit squirrely, but we're going to touch on it and we'll see how it goes. So are you ready, Tarisa?
I'm so ready. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's talk about the first thing I would like to really talk about. I'd like to talk about like three things: what to expect as an agent, what you need to know, and then talk about what you're going to hear kind of versus reality. Because a lot of times what you hear, and maybe we'll talk about that first, what you hear coming into this industry is a lot of smoke blown up your skirt, is how I always say it. And it's the industry as a whole is I think it's the biggest pyramid scheme out there because it is truly a pyramid. Okay. So I think that we start with the pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid, you have your general agent, and the GA, or the company that holds that contract with the insurance company. So I am a general agent. I hold a general agent contract with the insurance company. Everybody under me is an agent. So I control everyone under me. I control how much commission they get paid. I control if they can move on to another agency or not. I can hold that person hostage if I wanted to. So it's really stupid that it's set up this way, but this is the way it's set up. So your GA has all the power. So it's really like getting into a marriage, and you better like that person at the top of that pyramid, and you better trust them, and you better know everything about them and really be selective. Now, I don't know. I'll let you talk, Tris. I'm not going to do all talk. But when I got into the industry, it was just a smoke show, man. Oh, Mary Jo, this is so awesome. You can make so much money, blah, 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 blah. And I remember saying to one of the guys that was trying to recruit me, is he just blowing smoke up my skirt? Because I am not buying this, right? I mean, I came from the P&C world. I kind of had an idea, but I'm like, he's making this sound so easy. But they do that because they want you to work for them so that you can bring in all your friends and family, and they can make a bunch of money off of you. And so you have to really use your discernment to go, oh, is that true?
Or ask some follow-up questions, because I do think it's glamorized, like this industry. It's like, oh, I could just get my license and write policies and make a ton of money. And it's like, Eventually, maybe.
Yeah.
Like
Depending on how hard you work and who you talk
right.
to and how you market and who you're working for.
Well, it's like any business, right? But I wish that I would have had this podcast to listen to before I joined the industry because I would have probably asked better questions. I don't know if that would have changed where I first started out at all, but I just would have had a better understanding. Like, I feel like it took me forever to even realize, like, oh, what a GA was, which is probably embarrassing to admit, but just having you explain that here for people that are interested, I think is really good. Just so that you could be aware of like what you're getting into and why it's important that you're aligned with whoever you're going to be working
Right.
under, because that person does hold a lot of power over you. And if you're not aligned in whatever way, whether that's just how they do business or what type of clients they're going after, or even how they support you as an agent, it's really good to have a decent understanding of what that working relationship is going to be like. And if it's something that you can be successful inside of. Like, I know for me, environment is a really big thing, which is why I love working with Mary Jo. And I love it over here. So just, I think, know what feels good and what feels right, but also don't be afraid to ask those questions because like Mary Jo said, you are getting married to someone and it's good to date around a little bit, so to speak, before you commit to somebody.
Well, it's like getting a job, right?
Because
you go to a job interview and it's a little bit the same. It's different in the aspect of when you go to a job interview, they're interviewing you to determine if they want you. This is a little bit reversed. They're trying to sell you on bringing you in. And so you have all the rights in the world because they have all the power. Once you sign that contract that says, yup, I'm going to work with this GA, they have the power to determine commission, if they want to increase commission, decrease commission, give you leads, don't give you leads, whatever. And so some people, and let's just get into some examples. So a lot of times there is one huge company that starts with an N. You guys all know if you're listening, I love my N companies. And so they will go into these colleges and they're like, hey, you're going to school for finance. You should come work with us. And so they recruit all these college kids to come in, and then they tell the college kids, hey, go to all your friends and family and tell them that they need some life insurance or they need to invest or they need to do whatever. So all these college kids go out and they recruit all their friends and family to get life insurance policies, and then they leave college and they disappeared. Like, now you have an agent that doesn't survive in the business. I was just talking to somebody that has a policy with one of the Catholic insurance companies. And I said, oh, your agent that wrote you this policy probably doesn't even work there anymore. And they're like, no, we've been through 5 of them in 8 years. And I'm like, yeah, why?
Goodness.
Because the GA gets all the money and the new person coming in doesn't hardly get any commission. And so how are you supposed to live? All of your money is going to the GA because the GA does need to get paid for training you. 100%, absolutely. They need to get paid for training you. So they're not being over the top greedy. It's just that you're paying for training. But then what happens is you're in college or you're like, succumb to the smoke show of this is so easy. And then it's not that easy. And so you're getting a little bit of commission and you're doing a whole lot of work. And the training is terrible because the training is, hey, I'll train you, but you bring me Tarisa. You bring me your clients, and then I'll train you with your clients. Well, guess what? You don't even know what to say and how to say it and who to talk to get a client because you don't have enough information. And then it's such a slow process that the training is very slow and the money's very slow and it all is just very hard. But that is not what you were sold. So we see
No, you're sold. It's going to be so
right, and
easy.
we see a lot of
It's going to
people
be
come
so
and go.
easy.
But the traditional
Mhm.
life insurance piece of this is the GA recruits agents. Those agents go bring in their friends and family. And when their friends and family are gone, then it gets hard. And then they leave and then they bring in more agents and they go get friends and family. And it's this repetitive door swinging of new agents. And it's this repetitive training for the GAs. And so we have an industry issue, we have a GA issue, we have just an issue as a whole. And I think that people don't know that. When I was appointed, I signed up under an individual and I worked under her for a year, 2 years, I think. And at the 2-year mark, I was like, okay, we weren't exactly seeing 100% eye to eye. I didn't essentially like how she explained infinite banking. And I said, okay, I'm just going to go out on my own. She was 100%. Yep. Okay, that's fine. I bought all the office stuff, wrote her a check to take over the office. And the agreement, the verbal agreement, here's where I made a mistake, was that she would increase my commission. She decided never to increase my commission. So now what's my option? She is literally holding my income hostage. And so my option was to say, all right, well, I can't write with that company. I can write with that company, but I'll always get less commission. So I'm going to go find a new GA, which I can do. I don't need to be released from her GA unless it's with the companies that she was appointed with. And I was only appointed with one company under her GA contract. So she could hold me hostage with that company. So I found a new GA, got appointed with other companies, and moved all my business from company A to company B. Okay. Then I had to go to company A and terminate my contract. I had to do that because she would not let the company release me.
Well, and I think that's a good question is like, what does it entail for a GA to release an agent?
Well, that is a good question. So the release is a form. Typically, it's going to be a form or an email to the company that says, hey, I release Tarisa. She is welcome to go work with somebody else. I don't need to know as a GA if Tarisa comes to me and says, hey, I want to be released. It's none of my business where she's going. It's none of my business if she's going to stay in the industry or not. If she just wants to be released, she should have the freedom to do that, right? So it doesn't take a lot. But the GA that I was working with decided that they're not going to do that. They're not even going to answer my emails to increase commission because they thought they were going to hold me back. Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And so I just found another GA, got licensed with other companies, wrote with those companies. Equally as good a companies as the one I was writing with. So no problem there, could still do infinite banking. But I didn't know that. I did not know that they can hold you. So it took me 2 years before I could do anything with company A again. Because there's rules to if you terminate, how soon you can come back. Because the companies also try to protect the GA. They're always trying to protect a GA over an agent. Because the GA is the one that makes the money and whatever. So when I was reappointed under another GA, because I can't go get my own GA contract at this point. I've only been in the industry 2 years. I hadn't written enough business. There's criteria to be a GA. So you have to make sure that the general agent you're with, that they are going to release you, that when they say they're going to increase commission, they increase commission. Ask them to sign some kind of a contract. If Tarisa came to me today and said, Mary Jo, I want a piece of paper that says, you will release me from if I ask for a release, I would sign that in a heartbeat. because it's happened to me, I am not going to say no. But if I were to say, yeah, I don't think I'm going to sign that, Tarisa, that should be some red flags, and you should probably not join my organization. Because I can say whatever I want. Doing that is a whole different ballgame.
But that's true. It's kind of like, I feel like as you, I don't like to say get older, but get wiser, you kind of realize how it's important to have things in writing and to ask those questions, because I was previously at an agency and I did ask to be released. Luckily, that went well for me. But I know for some people, it doesn't. And so just having that information beforehand, I think, is really important. Which brings me to this question, Mary Jo. It's like, okay, what do you wish that you would have asked or had in writing prior to starting out under your first GA?
I wish that I would have had in writing. I wish I would have known that I needed a release. I wish that I would have had in writing what my commission structure would be. I wish I would have known how commission was paid to a GA and how much commission they're actually making. And at the very beginning of our relationship, she was very open about the commission piece of what she was making. If you are with a captive company versus a independent company. So I'm independent, you and I are independent, we can write with whatever company we want. But you have some companies that are captive companies. So your really large companies are typically captive. Even One America that we write with, there's a career side and an independent side, and the career side is captive, more captive. Independent side, we can do whatever we want. And so on those, I have never worked for a career company or a captive company, even though your New York Lifes and those people have tried to recruit me. I'm like, oh, hell to the no. Not happening, because in a captive company, they own your book of business. So if you leave, you do not get to take that with you. And in most cases, you lose renewal commission, you lose all of the stuff that we continue to get on our side. And so, no, when I'm building my business, I'm building it for me. I am not building it so that somebody else can take that. And I think that I didn't know any of that. I wish that I would have known some of that. But I don't even know where you go to find the information. Because as a new agent, you see, oh my gosh, this is infinite banking. This is amazing. Everybody's going to want to do it. And we haven't even got to that piece yet, that not everybody wants to do it. And so you have 1% of the people you talk to that think that this is a good idea. And so it's a very hard industry. On top of, once you do make it, and if you are successful, now this person at the top can very easily determine if they're going to release you or not release you. And there can be a big fight about that. And so I do have a few colleagues that are like, hey, I'll write you a blanket release the day you sign your contract. If you ever want to execute that, you have it, it's signed, you send it to the company, all is good.
That's nice. Well, it's kind of like not many marriages go well if...
It's like a prenup.
If they're like, I'm going to... Yeah, there you go. I like that analogy. It's like no one likes to feel trapped, especially if they don't want to be there. Like imagine you get married to like this crappy person and then you just never can leave. Right. It's like, and that's not like, I feel like this is both sides, right? Like there's some really amazing GAs, there's some not so great GAs, there's some really amazing agents, there's some not so amazing agents. So I feel like everyone has to kind of do their part. Like I think sometimes GAs get tired because agents, we just talked about this term, but it's like they're assholes. Like they ask a bunch of questions, they don't do a bunch of work, that sort of thing. And like vice versa, like as a GA, like what's your responsibility to the agent? Like how are you supposed to show up and support them? Because I do think that there is that responsibility there as a GA to make sure that your agents are well informed and can handle their clients.
And I think that the piece of that's important is most agents don't understand how taxing it is for the GA to teach. And so I'm a rare GA. You don't find people in my position very often that I'm a production GA. So I'm producing my own income. I'm meeting with my own clients because that's what drives me. That's what I love. Most GAs quit producing. So they don't meet with clients. They're not bringing in their own money. So their money is literally coming from the agents, and their time is being spent training agents. In that process, they're also pushing agents to write business because they need to get paid and put groceries on their table. And so it is very taxing to be a GA, and agents need to understand that. When you come in as an agent, the more work that you can do on your own and get those answers on your own and do some research and come with a, hey, I think the answer is this. Is that correct? Versus constantly asking questions and taxing your GA. When I don't accept a lot of people as agents. I'm not out here to grow some big agency because I frankly have very little patience for people that don't want to do the work. Okay, when I came in as an agent, I read every book I possibly could. I educated myself on everything I possibly could. Things that she told me not to do, I still did them. I learned how to market myself. I learned how to brand myself. I did all of that without asking. I just went. Okay. Some agents want their hand held. Well, what do I do next? What should I ask here? How do I do this? How do I do that? With zero sitting back and thinking about it themselves. And so if you're going to, it's like having a kid that just needs to be told every step of the day. Hey, you need to get up. Hey, you need to get dressed. Hey, you need to brush your teeth. Now you need to, the bus is going to be here in 5 minutes and you need to be ready. And did you eat breakfast? And do you have all your pencils and your markers and your notebooks? And do you have your homework? Oh, could you think of something yourself? And so if you have one kid that's like that, it's probably not such a big deal. But if you have 10 kids that you're reminding every step of the day to do all of the things, this is why mothers lose their mind.
It's true.
And so it's
valid.
As a GA, when people call and say, hey, Mary Jo, I want to join your agency. And if you have multiple businesses already and you're a very busy individual, I might say, I'm out. Because where is your focus and how much time am I going to have to spend on you? And how long is it going to take you to learn versus somebody that's very, very focused on this and this is what they want to do and they're self-driven. And so we do have the GAs aren't the bad. I've kind of bashed on them, but they're not necessarily the bad guy. The agent also needs to understand you want to be a good agent. You want to provide value. You want to be self-driven, and that relationship's going to be great.
Well, and I think it's like an effort thing too, right? It's like you're more likely to help someone on the side of the road change their tire if they're out there doing it versus like someone that's just like waiting for assistance. It's like, as an agent, don't be that person, don't be that person that's just like taking up time without putting in any effort.
And it's a little bit like a marriage in the aspect of if one spouse is doing everything, the other spouse is going to get a little bit annoyed, right? If your husband's constantly sitting on the couch watching TV or playing his Xbox, we're probably going to have some issues. But if they're going to help out and show effort and we're going to work together, it's not a big deal. But there are more, when I look at my colleagues, ironically, when you want to learn IBC, it's tough because there's not a lot of us that want agencies because we've had a lot of bad agents that are exhausting. And so we're like, yeah, no thanks, not going there, which is why I don't want an agency. Does that stop people from coming? No, but it makes me unbelievably picky. Like Tarisa would not be here if I did not know she was self-driven and she excelled amongst agents in their first and second year Tarisa was like insane knocking it out of the park. And you do that by being self-driven and motivated. And really, she wanted to learn. The first time I met her, she had a couple pages of questions for me. She already did her research on me. That is not normal. And so
I'm a little bit of a creep. I'm just kidding. I was like, Mary Jo.
I've been waiting to talk to you. I'm like, I don't know who you are. But it was very evident that she doesn't just sit back. And so I knew immediately, well, she's going to be easy. She's going to add value. It's going to be very synergetic versus, oh my gosh, this is going to be hard. And some agencies push you to produce. So you're having to answer to them and say, okay, this is how many people I called. This is how many meetings I had. This is how many applications I have in the works. Those agencies are very number driven, and that is industry because they look at life insurance as sales. And so that is across the board, that is extremely normal. It's a little bit different over here as well because I'm like, hey, you do your thing and I don't want to know if you talk to anybody. I frankly don't care if you're not successful. Don't cry on my shoulder. Go get to work. Like I'm over here working. I don't have time for you to figure out your business.
Well, I think that, yes, I was going to say that. I think as an agent, you need to realize like you are operating your own business, even though you are under a GA. Like it's your responsibility to make it successful like no one else's. And I would also say too, like from that standpoint, before you join a GA, it's good to ask like what the expectations are and like what's required of you so that you can have that understanding and maybe have it in writing. Mm-hmm. And things change, right? Like organically over time. I think that's normal, but having a baseline of saying, hey, like if this changes or if this goes against like what we agreed upon, then I want the freedom to be able to exit. And that's kind of what happened to me is like, I just found I wasn't really aligned with where I was at and I didn't enjoy the environment and I didn't feel like it was an area that I could excel in. And so I just asked them to be released and came over to Mary Jo.
Your career agencies and some of your agencies will require you to produce X amount of dollars a year and sell X amount of dollars a year, or you get fired. And they're doing that. It's kind of a twofold thing. They're doing it because they've put this time and energy in and you're not putting the time and energy in, so you're out. They're also doing it for the money side. So it's kind of a two-sided situation. One of it is so that they don't spend any more time and energy with you because you're not matching it. The other is it's money driven, which kind of sucks. And that's sales. It's no different than if my daughter works at the Buckle. And when you go into the Buckle to get clothes, it is very like, there's always somebody there to help you. And because they work on commission. And so it can be very pushy or it can be very nonchalant. Like, of course, I've taught her to not be pushy. Because I would walk out with nothing. I could want those pair of jeans and need them because my house burned and I'm walking around naked. Okay. And I'm not buying them because you're being pushy. I hate salespeople. And so some companies, some agents will really teach that pushiness because it's a money factor and they have goals set for money. I'm out here helping people. And if we can help them, we can help them. If we don't, we don't. I don't really care either way. You're big girls and boys. You can go figure out what you want to do. But you are right. When you go meet with that GA or you meet with that insurance company, you want to know, do you have to have a minimum production? What happens if you don't have minimum production? Do you have to attend all meetings? Are they mandatory? What is the commission structure looking like? There's a lot of these things that if I want a release, will I get a release? Is this a captive company? Is it an independent company? Do I get can I take my book of business with me? And your book of business would be all the people you wrote, all your clients that you wrote insurance on. Can you take that book with you or does that book have to stay with the current agent that you're working with or the current company that you're working with?
And also, like, how can you increase your contract level, or is that an option? Because I didn't even realize, I don't know. I also think it's common to get so excited about infinite banking that you're just excited to be able to tell everybody about it. So I think who you are with as an agency is kind of like a secondary thought. It's like, oh, I just need to find someone so that I can structure policies in this way, or you know what I mean? So I would say it's good to be discerning about who you end up joining, who you kind of get married to, and don't let your excitement about infinite banking and the fact that everyone needs to hear about it cloud your judgment on like where you end up.
And I'm a fairly social person. Like, I like to be by myself as well. But the very first think tank that I went to for the Nelson Nash Institute, I met all kinds of people, and I was not shy about meeting people. And I talked to people. And it really was super nice because then I was able to visit with other people. When that relationship went south, I was like, shit, what am I going to do now? But I had a ton of people that I had visited with that I could decide if I like them or didn't like them, or, and you're interviewing a GA. And is that GA blowing smoke so that they can make it look like this is really easy? And I think we need to kind of spend a little bit of time on that. Like, I had my list of friends and family that I called, because that's what you do. And so I called those friends and family, and I got yelled at. I got hung up on. People told me I was an idiot because a 401k is better. All that stuff. Now, I had done my homework and I knew how to combat that, but it's tough. And the first couple of years are okay because it's friends and family and they feel bad for you. And so they'll meet with you. They'll maybe buy a small policy. But when you run out of friends and family, that's when it gets hard. Because now you're asking for referrals, or some people aren't going to give you. I do not give people referrals. You can ask me for referrals, and no. If somebody asks me for something you're selling and I feel that you're worth the referral, I will refer. But I'm not giving you names so you can call and solicit people. I think that is beyond rude. And so once you run out of friends and family, now you're having to figure out how to talk to strangers and get them in the door. And that's where most people don't do well.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even have, maybe I just don't have a lot of friends. Because it didn't take me that long to get through that list of people of who to sit down and talk to. Because I was like, clearly this is like not working. I feel like I had so many conversations with family. Actually, that's not true. My mom and my sister both have a policy, which I feel very like happy about. But like after that, it was just like beating my head against the wall. And I was like, screw this. Like, I love you guys, but like, this is not going to help me with my business if like you're just being nice and sitting down with me and not like actually believing in this concept or going to do anything about it. So I went to like as many networking events as possible. Like I probably went to 2 or 3 a week, and I would have a goal to meet 2 people that I really clicked with and just like develop that relationship further. But yeah, I was out and about,
relationship. Right. So what a lot of people don't understand as well, and I think that's something that we need to go over because nobody tells you this when they're blowing their smoke. Nothing comes out, like smoke rings don't come out saying, hey, you're going to wait 3 to 6 months to get your first paycheck. Like that doesn't happen. Like does not happen.
It doesn't. But it's true though. You have to be like 3 months ahead of yourself, basically. And you have to be okay with, you also don't know if people are going to get approved through underwriting, right? It's like everything's hypothetical until it's not. And it takes a long time to figure that out.
Even when people buy a policy, they have 30 days to cancel that thing. And then you got to pay your commission back. So until I think is it 30-day look back period? Yeah. So until day 31, count your chickens before they hatch. Now, I was really excited And I was like, ooh, this is the best thing ever. I'm going to quit my job with $10,000 to my name, and that's it. And I'm not getting paid for 6 months. Yeah, probably not a good idea. It's not probably not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Was it a good idea to go in all or nothing? 100%. I focused on IBC 100%. However, there are a lot of agents. I don't know that I have more than you. Let me think of all the agents we have. You and John are the only ones that are 100%. Well, John does crop insurance on the side. And so you and I are the only ones that do IBC. All the other agents that work with us have something else that they do. They're either realtors, or they have a PNC business, or they're doing real estate or something on the side to have a little extra income, because this is slow. Like, you're gonna starve. And I was super lucky. My husband didn't make every dollar he needed to pay the bills. I had my share of the bills, that I made enough just to cover that share of the bills. But I didn't make enough to cover my share of the bills and promote myself and market myself and start my business and capitalize my business. And so it was rough. The first 5 years were rough. And like, I didn't even look the statistics up before we got on here. Most agents don't make it past 3 years.
Yeah. And you see why, because I think that it's like there's sometimes a lack of training, but also I think people get in their own way. Like Mary Jo said, if you're not able to talk to strangers, like, you're not going to do well in this business, because like that's honestly where majority of your income is going to come from, is people that are looking for this concept. And unfortunately, most of the time that's not your friends and family.
Yep.
Unless you have better friends and family than me. And in that case, congratulations.
And I think some of that is where you've worked, right? I've had a lot of past jobs. And so I had a lot of work history, because I was like 36 when I started this, I think. 35 or 36. So I had a number of friends and past coworkers that I could call, and you were much younger. And so you didn't have all that time to build those relationships, but you still made it go. And so a lot of times I tell people, okay, if this is so amazing to you, because people will ask, Mary Jo, if you couldn't do this, what would you do? Like, I don't know. Like, there's nothing else that I want to talk about. I was on vacation last week, and another colleague called me, and I was like, this is so refreshing. I get to talk about work. Like, it's been an entire week. This is kind of boring. What am I going to talk about? And so I absolutely just love it. If I could not do this, I would still tell everybody about it. And that's when you know that this is probably something that you can bear through when times are tough. But if times get tough and you're like, oh yeah, I tried that infinite banking thing. If you are not so committed that you know this is the right thing to do and you 100% believe in it and put your money there, you probably shouldn't be an agent.
Yeah, because you are going to go through those years, definitely. Like, you just are. And I really think it proves to people that are willing to stick it out and still show up for their clients, like even on hard days, because you're going to receive so many more no's than yeses. It's not like you're selling houses, right? It's not like a basic, like, oh, you need somewhere to live. Yeah. Like, that's an easy thing to talk someone into, or not talk someone into, but it's just like, it's a necessity, right? Whereas like life insurance, especially infinite banking, it takes a lot of unlearning and teaching in order for someone to feel on board with making that decision and parting with those dollars. And so you have to be committed, but you also have to have a lot of patience with people.
And it's not, if I try to teach you infinite banking, I'm not just teaching you infinite banking. I'm teaching all your friends and family infinite banking, because you go to them to get their feedback and they haven't done their due diligence. And so it's a lot of he said, she said. Well, Uncle Johnny said this. Well, I don't care what Uncle Johnny said, because I didn't talk to Uncle Johnny. But I talked to one of our agents today, and she has a client that is already approved. All she's got to do is pay for the policy. But now she's not paying for the policy because mom and dad are in her ear saying this is a horrible idea. And then she knows it's a good idea, but mom and dad are saying it's a bad idea. And so you have to be able to combat those things or be okay with those things that some people just are not going to move forward. Or they're going to be like, yep, I'm ready to go. And ready to them is not ready to you. Ready to you is right now, let's get started. Ready to them is maybe in 6 months or a year, I'll come back to this when it's more important to me. And so we think it's amazing because we love talking about money and cash flow and insurance and all the things. But what's exciting, what I have found is money is exciting to me, business is exciting to me, but to somebody else, it's health and it's fitness and it's these other things. And that shit's not exciting to me. Okay. Fitness is not exciting to me at all, any way, shape, or form, clearly. And so I'm not going to get up every day and be like, I get to work out. No. I do get to talk to people about farming and ranching, and I do get to talk about life insurance, and that's exciting. I do not get up excited that I have to get 10,000 steps in and I should be lifting weights and I should be sitting in the sauna and I should be doing all those things that actually make me angry. Okay. That is a difference of importance. And so we have to understand when we're saying, hey, this is important. How come you don't see the importance of life insurance? And they're like, because they can just sell some assets to pay for my funeral. And we go, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. And they're thinking there's no problem with that because did you work out this morning? I worked out. Did you eat your 150 grams of protein? No, I didn't even eat today because I was busy. It's not that important.
If you ever, yeah, I always am so inspired by, it's a two-sided relationship. I am inspired by and hate those people that are like, I'm signing up for the next marathon. And I'm like, do you hate yourself? Like, why do you want to do that? Like, I hate running even a short distance. I will run if someone's coming at me with a knife or like I might die. But like, besides that, it should just be so optional / I never want to do it. I hate sweating. I just really do. So I'm with you. I think it's important. Like, I still go on walks and try to eat healthy and those things, but I'm not going to be the person that's up at 5 a.m, like super excited about running 26
but you
miles.
Are excited
I would rather
about
die.
Insurance at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, this is another thing that this is another thing. I could be dog dead tired. It could be 11 o'clock at night and we're at an event with a whole bunch of other practitioners and we're going to stay up till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock talking about insurance and talking about business ideas and cash flow and all the things. And all of a sudden, we are not tired. But if you said, hey, let's go for a run at 11 p.m., no, absolutely not. Like, that is no. It's what is truly important to you. And so what you think is important is not what everybody else thinks is important. And so the game is hard. It's not easy. And I shouldn't call it a game because that sounds bad. But it is really hard to get people to care about it. And you're finding other people that care about money, that care about business, that care about cash flow. And that's 1% of the people that you talk to. To me, it's always a 1 or 2% thing because I can look at how many books I've sold versus how many people I've talked to, or how many books I've sold versus how many farmers there are. And I'm at about 1%. I'm hitting 1% of the 1% because that is the only amount that truly care about anything. 1% of people care about taxes. 1% of people care about vehicles. Like, my husband will read about vehicles all day long. I really don't care what that transmission is doing. Like, I don't care. He does not care about money, but he cares about what's happening in the hunting world and what's happening in the world of vehicles and who's making a better transmission, or who's changing their engine, or what's that body style of that pick. I don't care. I just want something that's not going to be broke down all the time, you know?
right? You're like, just does it work? And I think you're right. Like a lot of people have that mindset. And I was going to say too, like for anyone that is thinking about starting out, I used to take like the rejection so personally. It's like, oh, if you reject IBC, you reject me, because it was like my whole personality. And it's still a big part of it. I'm not even going to lie. But I used to take it so personally, and I had to kind of be confronted with like the fact that it's not a personal thing. Like people are making these decisions for their family, and whether or not they agree with it, you don't have control over that. But just showing up and doing your best to educate someone, and knowing that like you put the time and effort in to help that person understand what it is that this can do for them, and feeling good about that, and then moving on. It's like some will, some won't. So what? Like someone's waiting. And I think that's totally true. Just as like a little tidbit of advice for someone that is maybe in the thick of it or starting out or just having a hard time. Because I think when you are so excited about something and someone is just like, yeah, no, it's like, oh, well, I still think this is like the best thing ever. I don't understand how you don't see it.
We're not selling candy. And so it's really hard.
No.
I just Googled it. The first year failure rate in the life insurance industry is 90%.
Wow.
3-year failure rate is 89%. In that they will fail within the first 3 years of being in the industry. And so with those rates, you quit your job, you are quitting your paying job to make commission. The unlimited amount of money you can make is phenomenal. You have no ceiling. Yes, I get to determine as a GA how much commission I pay you, but you don't have a ceiling on how many people you can talk to, how much money you make per hour. You can make whatever. You can make $10 million a year if you want, okay? But you are risking, it's very hard to get there. And according to this, 90% fail in their first year. Is that because of training? Is that because of being with the wrong GA? Is that because of being in the wrong environment? Is it because people were blowing smoke and said that it was going to be easier than it is? So people can look at me and be like, oh, Mary Jo, it's amazing. You've done great. This is so easy. No, it's not. What am I doing on the back end? TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, marketing. I wrote 2 books. I've got 2 podcasts. The amount of effort I'm putting in to educate and share so that people see me as a value to do business with is massive. And that didn't happen overnight. It just so happened to take 15 years. So when we look at, I think that we need to, when you get into the business, if you're listening and you want to get into the business because you think that it's amazing, it is amazing, but you better be ready to work. And to work 24/7. A lot of people talk about work-life balance. And it's been funny because I've been listening to Alex Hormozy and, some of the social media people, but then some of the sharks on Shark Tank. I've seen some of their videos and they're like, there's no work-life balance. When you're starting a business, there's no work-life balance because you're putting all your time and energy into that. And your balance can come later when you have food to put on the table. But until you have the money to buy the food, and some of you might think that I'm being dramatic here. I'm not being dramatic. Like it takes you 3 months to get that first paycheck if somebody said yes to you day 1 and started everything day 1. It's going to take 2 to 3 months to get that paycheck. That's not going to happen on day 1, outside of friends and family.
No.
And so you need to make sure that you know what you're signing up for. And that failure rate is just proof that a lot of people don't know. And I believe the biggest issue is smoke. They've just got a smoke screen up of how easy it's going to be, or that they didn't have the correct training.
Yeah, it could be a number of things. Like you really do have to put the effort in. And kind of similar to you, I quit my full-time paying job to do this full-time because I was doing it part-time for a couple of years and I just was really frustrated by the results because I was like, I just don't feel like I didn't feel like I had enough time to dedicate to what I wanted to. And I was like, okay, well, I'm willing to give up like the steady paycheck to help people in this fulfilling way. And so I would say if it is something you're considering full-time, like having 6 months worth of savings set aside is really wise.
And that's if you work your butt off for those 6 months. Because you're going to need it, but in 6 months, it's not going to just miraculously happen. But you can't, there's a lot of ups and downs. And when we're on an up, we're like, oh, we're good. We're getting paid and we don't have to prospect and we don't have to talk to people. And then, so you're up here. And then when the money stops, then you go out and start talking to people again. So we've got this influx of interruption in our income. And that's what I did. I'd be like, oh, yay, I got like 2 or 3 people. And then I would stop talking to people and then I'd be broke again. And then I'd have money and then I'd be broke again and have money. And so if you can keep that level, which is what a GA or a company that has expectations of you to call people every day and hold you accountable, that is good for some people. That is what's needed for some people. And if you're the kind of person that needs to be held accountable, those are the agencies you need to go work with. You don't come work with me because I may not talk to you for 2 months. Like some people you're building, and I think we need to understand that the people that are requiring you to meet all those guidelines, you're helping build their company. In situations like I have, you are your own business. You're not using the without the bank anything. Tarisa is not part of without the bank. Yes, she's helping over here. Yes, if you guys want to call her, you can do that. But she also has a business of her own that she's building. She can promote. She can do all of that stuff. She can 100% build her own thing. And she can market her own name, and it is completely different. So I am not over here, Tarisa, how many people did you call? What are you doing? How many people are you closing? Because frankly, I don't care about numbers. Number one, because it's about people. How many people have you helped is what I care about. How could we help them better? Were you able to answer all their questions? That's what I'm concerned about. And I don't care. It's not a numbers game for me. So if you're not self-driven, I'm not your lady. Like I may not be your lady anyway, but I'm not your lady if you're not self-driven. And so you have to understand who's blowing the smoke, how much commission they're getting, how their training is, and you got to do a little self-reflection. Do you have what it takes to push through and get there and be in that position for 5 years? Before things really start to take off. And if you're lucky, it's going to happen year 2 or 3, but that's if you're very fortunate.
Yeah. And I would say like in order to be successful, you have to listen to people that are like ahead of you and actually take their advice. Like Mary Jo's been telling me to post video content for I don't know how long. And I'm like, yeah, I need to get that done and stop making excuses for myself. So I'm aware of that. And I think it's just like same thing, right? It's like if someone's telling you what to do, that's much further ahead of you in that business that you want to be successful in, like take their advice. And you have to be good at connecting with people, like realize that it's not just a number, like you're helping someone in something that impacts not only their life, but like their family's life. And you should take responsibility for that and really care about it at a very deep level because it's really important what we get to help people with. So connecting with people, but you also need to be well-trained and well-informed on how you can help people and like what's actually going to benefit them short-term, medium-term, and long-term, right? It's like if someone comes to me and they're not able to start a policy right away, that's okay. Like in a few years, if you have the income and you've paid off credit card debt, then let's have that conversation because the likelihood that you'll be successful on your IBC journey is much higher.
And I think that's another piece.
You have to care.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's another piece that we need to look for in the GA part of it or the company we work with, if they're very focused and driven by the numbers, I feel, this is my opinion, I feel that they don't care about the people. I don't frankly care about my agent's numbers. I'm not tracking your guys' numbers. You determine your numbers, but I want you to care about your people. I want to make sure that you're taking care of your client, that they're given the right information, that the policy structure is right, that we know every single thing we can possibly know about them to make sure that that policy is done correctly, if it's done at all. And so are we just driven, like your big career companies are going to be driven by numbers, because if you don't meet those numbers, you lose your contract. And so is that how I want to sell? I had somebody tell me years ago, Mary Jo, you need to have goals. You need to write down goals. And I hate goals, just so all of you know, like I don't write them down. I don't think about goals. I don't write goals down. So I wrote them down this one time and I was like, okay, I'm going to have this goal. The next 3 meetings I had, all I could think about was how much money they were going to pay for premium, how much commission I was going to make, because I had this goal to meet. I immediately ripped that up, threw it in the garbage, and went back to what I do. Because my clients are about who they are, what they do, how can we help them? Who do I know that can help them? If I can't help them, can I lead them to somebody else that can help them? I am here to serve my client. What comes out of that comes out of that. It's not some financial goal that I have to meet every year. The insurance company knows. This is another thing when you get into the insurance world, is this happened to me like as soon as I started making a little more money. The insurance company would say, oh, Mary Jo, if you have this client signed by the end of the month, you still get paid this month. What are you talking about? Like, that client will sign and pay when that client is ready to sign and pay. And I yelled at them. Like, I was very upset about that. And then I had to be told, that is not normal. That is how most agencies work, and how most agents work is they will push their clients to sign and pay for something so they make more money by the end of the month and they meet some BS criteria. And so every new person that has come into the company that has to service me, they only make that mistake one time. And it happens every damn time that I get a new person. They're like, oh, if you look, I'm like, do not ever speak to me about that again. Because what happens. If my clients decide that they can buy land over starting a policy, I want them to have land. And we can wait with the policy. Like, their well-being is more important than my paycheck. And so when you get into this world, when you operate like I do and you have the mentality of just, I want to help people, it's very eye-opening to see the greed. And then you really understand why life insurance agents have that slimy reputation, because it's kind of the industry as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that and I think that's why we all love you so much, because you are really just about what's best for people. And I think that's easy to see and it's refreshing.
Well, thanks. I hope it's easy to see. But I think that in closing, I hope that kind of helped anybody that's trying to get into the industry. Make sure you're interviewing several GAs, several companies. You shouldn't be just landing on the first one. If you are somebody that read my book and you're like, oh, I want to work with Mary Jo, do you? Should you? Just because you are here doesn't mean I'm the one you should be working with. I've only had one person that interviewed me. And I was a little bit like, what the hell is happening here? Like, I actually said to him, I said, I haven't been in an interview in like 15 years. Like, this is weird. And he's like, well, I'm going to work for you. So I want to know what I'm getting into. And kudos to him for having that information. But really, don't be afraid to ask. What kind of commission do you get paid as a GA? Do you get bonuses? Do you get overrides? And don't let them BS you. What is my commission structure going to be? How do you treat my clients? How are you caring for my clients? What are you doing as a GA? We didn't even touch on that. Are you providing me somebody to do applications? Are you providing me service for my clients? What do you do for me as a GA? How do I get trained? Do you have training videos? Or do we have meetings every week? Do I have access to ask you questions whenever I want? Do I only have access to you? Can I ask questions of the team? How all of those things need to be asked of the GA for you to determine if that's the right person for you. What if you want to go be your own GA at some point? Will they release you to do that, or will you always be looked at as competition? And remember, they're in the smoke blowing phase, okay? So they are going to tell you whatever you want to hear. Once they do that, put pen to paper with a signature on it, so there's some sort of a contract to sign. I just never thought in a million years people would not release me. They would not increase my commission like they said. They would not answer emails. I never in a million years thought that people would be like that. And they are. And it's people that were very open in the beginning and you had years of a relationship with, and that went south. And so make sure that you understand the company, you understand the GA, and you understand how hard this industry is. Here's one thing that I tell people too, is when people say, oh, I want to sell, I want to do this. I'm like, okay, when you can sell 20 books and not to friends and family, they are off limits. You're selling the book, you're not giving the book away. When you can sell 20 books to random people and get all 20 books sold, then you are welcome. Then you may make it in the industry. But I want you to sell those 20 books to see how hard this is. And if you like being told no, and then you still like this, right? Because a lot of times we can't get past 20 books. We can't get past 10 books.
Well, I think the people that stay in this industry have to just be all equal amounts stubborn, because it's just like, no, I am going to make this work. Watch me.
Yeah. Because the excitement wears off. Eventually, the excitement wears off and it turns into frustration and pure orneriness. You are right. That's good.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Or just willpower. It's like people that enjoy a challenge, like I think it's fun to ask people questions because I like to see them thinking about their own belief system about money and if it still makes sense for them. Like to me, I find that so intriguing of like, okay, well, why are you doing that? And then seeing what their answer is. But yeah, I think that if you stay in this industry and you're successful in it, you're probably stubborn and you probably have a lot of willpower.
And I'm going to add one final remark here, is that we're teaching infinite banking, but at the end of the day, we're delivering death benefits. And so if you are not the kind of person that can sit with a mourning family and deliver that check in person and understand how people go through different types of mourning, and you're the kind of person that's like, I'm just going to avoid that whole situation because I don't feel comfortable in it, my husband would run from that, right? If you can't do that, you're not in the right industry, because this isn't just about cash flow and borrowing against the policy. Everybody's going to die. And at the end of the day, we have that piece that we have to have some compassion for. So make sure that you follow it to the end and not just think about how amazing it is today while we're alive. Okay, I think we beat that dead horse for an hour.
That horse is 6 feet under.
Yeah, so if it's something that, I hope this helped. I really, truly, I know we may have got a little sidetracked and had some longer stories, but I really hope that this helped you guys that want to get into the industry know what to look for. I'm just seeing far too many people as a whole in the industry failing, being held hostage, being with the wrong company that's not a good company, like just not knowing because you trusted. And we can't always trust. And I don't want you to trust me. If you want to be an agent, you need to think about all the good, the bad, the ugly. And then you better be very, very picky about who you see and what you do. Again, I'm not out here building an agency, but I'm not going to just let people flounder. And so if it's something that you want to do, you can always call me. But just know I'm picky as picky can be. And it's going to be rare that I say yes. Because I very much love my time in front of clients. And that is where I get fulfilled. And that may change in the future. If I can find somebody within the agency that really wants to just devote their time to coaching, then that would be awesome. But Tarisa loves to help. I love to help, but we still really do like meeting with clients, and that fulfills us. And so it's not like I have all the time in the world and I'm going to quit producing. So just a FYI, if you're listening and you've wanted to be an agent, you kind of got some tips about what to do right here and what to do wrong. All right. Let us know if you have anything. You know the routine, maryjo@withoutthebank.com, or you can email Tarisa@withoutthebank.com. And if you have anything you want to talk about, let us know. If you haven't got the books, go to withoutthebank.com, grab your books, set up your appointment with either one of us, and we're happy to help. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day.